Gary Pallister, over 400 appearances for Manchester United, an absolute man mountain of a central defender, and a diamond of a guy. How are you doing?
I'm good, mate. I'm back in Manchester at the moment, so yeah, enjoying myself.
Happy days, happy days. I wanted to chat to you about Harry Maguire. He's obviously just passed 250 appearances for United,
Mm.
and even though obviously, as I just touched upon, you almost doubled it, it's quite a big marker, isn't it?
Yeah, I think if you play that amount of games for a club the size of Manchester United, you're doing all right. And he came for a huge fee. I mean, he's had his difficulties. I think he'll say that, but I think generally he's been a great addition and a great player for Manchester United. He's went through a rough patch where most people thought he would probably going to leave, but he didn't. He remained professional throughout, even though he was getting a little bit of stick from all quarters. And I think he's rode that storm really well. And I think he's been an excellent player for Manchester United.
You'll have had it yourself before. There's definite parallels between your career, his career. Centre back signed for a record fee, a lot of
Mm.
pressure and scrutiny. Obviously, yours was earlier on. His was kind of midway through his United career.
Yeah.
What do you like about his game?
Yeah, listen, he's a problem for teams in both boxes, isn't he? He's very strong in the air. We've seen the danger he caused from set pieces. I don't think he's afraid to bring the ball out from the back. I think he's got a good range of passing as well. Um, Maybe not the quickest centre half in the world, but some people see that as a problem. I played alongside Steve Bruce, who's one of the best centre halves that's played for Manchester United. And Brucey didn't have a great deal of pace, but when you read the game as well as they do, that makes up for a hell of a lot. And I think Harry's done that. He's strong in the attack. I think he's passionate about Manchester United as well because he could have left the club. A bit like Bruno, he had an escape clause, if you like, and I think a lot of people would have probably jumped back in that time, but Harry stuck it out and he got back in the team. And last year he was certainly one of our better performers, I think. So yeah, I mean, he's got a lot of experience. He's at international level as well, and I think when he does eventually leave the club, I think people will look back and say, yeah, he turned out a really good signing.
Just a point on Brucey there. I think Brucey did so well in part because he had your recovery pace to rely upon, didn't he? He had that safety net.
Well, you rely on each other for a lot of things. Brucey was a better organizer than I was, and probably a little bit madder than I was, tough and you know what I mean, and uncompromising. I think you can look at Nemanja and Rio, who were very much alike. At sort of same kind of partnership that myself and Steve had. But yeah, Brucey was terrific. Didn't get probably the recognition and credit that he deserved because I think Steve got pigeonholed as an old-fashioned centre half. And yeah, if you watch games, he was a pretty good passer of the ball, read the game really well, uncompromising. And I always remember Bobby Robson apologising to Steve for not picking him for England because he said he thoroughly deserved the cap. Didn't make Steve feel too much better because he never got the cap that he deserved. But yeah, I think people just look too much at Steve as though he was like an old-fashioned centre half.
Just keeping it in the past in sort of your playing days. Obviously, we spoke about the pressure you were under earlier on
Mm.
in your first season at United. Could you imagine if that was happening today with the amount of media scrutiny and the social media scrutiny that you'd be under? Imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, no, as you say, it wasn't the most auspicious of starts when he arrived here. I mean, I'd only played one season in the top flight and got relegated, and it was just Middlesbrough playing hardball that pushed the fee up so much. And when you think Webby came for 1.5 million, it was a seasoned international who played many years in the top flight, and all of a sudden you've got me arriving for 2.3 million. I mean, fair play to Middlesbrough, they got the best deal that they could, but sure enough, it heaps a lot of pressure on you when you go for that kind of money because you know if you don't start well, you're the one who's going to take the flat. I remember the City game when we got beat 5-1. I got absolutely tittied in the press for Tommy Docherty and bless him George Best. And that's tough to take when you know what I mean, especially George, who I met on many occasions after that, and we'd have a crack and a laugh about it. Um, but it's not nice when you've got, you know what I mean, people like that sort of gunning for you in the press. And it's tough time. I was very fortunate to have people like Brian Robson and Brucey, Brian McClare, Viv Anderson. Um, you know what I mean? People who'd been through it all and sort of helped me through it. And obviously the manager as well, kind of protecting me a little bit as well. So, um, but it doesn't help when you're reading stuff like there was at the time. And you know you're the main target because of the transfer fee.
And in Harry's case, obviously, he had all that scrutiny. He also had I suppose, the public embarrassment of having the captaincy taken off him,
Yeah.
uh, 23, 24. I mean, how much credit does he deserve for turning that around?
Massive, massive credit, really, because you know, I mean, I was looking at it and thinking, well, he's going to go. I
Yeah.
mean, I think some of the crowd were against him at that time as well. I think, if I remember, and you know, I mean, that was the debate. I mean, I was working at the club at the time in the lounges and whatever, and that debate was always on people's lips at the game. What's going to happen with Harry? Does he deserve his chance again? Should he leave? Should he? You know what I mean? And I, for one, thought, yeah, it looks like 95% that he's going to leave, but he stuck to his guns. He didn't want to move, and he said he'll fight for his place. And I think managers can look at that and say, well, you know, what I mean, it's a great professional attitude to have when you see a lot of players down in tools right now. If they don't get what they want, they'll spit the dummy out and make it difficult for the clubs and force moves or whatever, because there's so much power for the players now. But you know, Harry never heard a thing of him in the press. He just sort of knuckled down and said, "Right, I'll do enough to show you that I deserve my place back in the team," and that's what he did. And you've got to give him a huge amount of credit for that.
He's a sort of a template of character, isn't he? I mean, how valuable is that to Ruben?
Yeah, well, I'm sure he looks at that and knows he can rely on him as a good pro in amongst all that we've had going on at the club. And there's been a lot of talk about certain players being unprofessional. It's nice to have a guy, a senior pro, who's out there epitomising everything you need to be a top class pro. So I'm sure he's delighted with that. You know, I mean, I know he's probably not played the games that he's wanted to at the start of this season. He was back in again on Sunday. Um, so he's, you know, I mean, he's still fighting for his place. I'm sure he still wants to play for England um, in maybe another big championship. But he's got to be playing regular football, I guess, to be able to do that. But yeah, I think for young kids coming through, and some of the players, some of the sort of middle-aged professionals at Manchester United, I think he's a great example for everybody to look at and see the way he handles himself.
Brilliant. Gary, that's wonderful. Thank you so much.
Yeah, all right, pal.